This is Ed in San Diego, and welcome to globaltvtalkshow.com. And we have guests in Alabama, right, which is South Central US, and also in France, and not Paris, but in Loire Valley area, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I've been there. I've been to Nantes, and we also did a river cruise on Loire, Joanne and I, and just wonderful place. I like to take pictures, and it was beautiful sunsets and reflection on the river. And
it
of
is a
course,
nice part of
the
France.
wine was pretty good too.
Yes, you didn't pick the less interesting.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, so Global TV Talk Show is a unit of globalbusinessnews.net. We started Global TV Talk Show as a result of the pandemic, closing down our live conference business, which was successful, profitable for 25 years. And then pandemic says no more. And so we figured out how to bring people together using this Zoom, and it's worked out okay. Since March of 2020, we've been fortunate to be able to produce 552 programs. So this is 553, and the audience has grown. Google Analytics measures everything, of course. So they say that globaltvtalkshow.com on globalbusinessnews.net has generated, since March 2020, just about 200,000 audience visits, which means people are looking at the screen like what we're doing here. Okay, so that means that it's a communications tool and educational tool if it's done right, and of course a good networking tool because it brings us together from different places without spending any money. So everybody's busy. Isabelle, it's near the end of your day. And so we're going to have a brief conversation about who we are and what we do. So Isabelle, you're the HR director for this high-tech, advanced technology company, MKS. Please describe briefly MKS.
So MKS is a global organization. So we are present pretty much on every continent, if not all continents, especially since we've been joined by Atatech, who recently came and added to our perimeter all over the world. And we specialize in the semiconductor industry, the advanced electronics, and the specialty industrial.
Yeah, that's great. So how many employees are there worldwide?
All over the world, we are over 10,000 employees.
Yeah, and are they all employed directly by MKS, or do you usually outsource?
No, they are. So this is 10,000 employed by MKS, but we have what we call the IDC, so they are like external consultant. We also have external temp people. So that is not in the 10,000 because that's not in our payroll.
Okay. Megan, do you have an understanding of what Isabelle just said?
Absolutely. I'd be curious for the group that you mentioned are more consultants. Are you all utilizing a particular entity to help you with that? Or are they kind of just independent individual employees?
Yeah, no, I know that we have IDC that are what we call auto entrepreneurs, so they would have their own company. But there are some that are using special companies that are stepping up at platforms to kind of be the one that gets a consultant all together and kind of lend their services to other companies. So we have different type of IDCs of consultants.
So Megan, the president of your company, Debbie McGee, wonderful personality. We had a conversation between us, and she was supposed to be on the program, but had a conflict develop. Megan, I'm really glad to meet you. We have never met before.
Nice to meet you.
So she's a finance expert, CPA, and started this company as an outgrowth of her own Big Four accounting services with the Big Four. And so why is a small company, relatively speaking, your company, small company, able to compete with these giant others in performing many of these services that you do? Again, this is not a sales pitch opportunity, but an explanation. What do you do and why?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Debbie started this company about 8 years ago, utilizing all of her knowledge for over 30 years in the industry. So
in tax,
really,
yeah.
In tax, yes,
Yeah.
Tax, human capital services in general. So really, that's, I guess, why we are great competitors, is the respect of Deborah has seen it from the beginning of hiring, recruiting an individual, all the way to annual taxes, repatriating the individual, terminating the individual, and everything in between. And so I think that's what makes PZI a competitive as a small company with these very large companies, by all means. So it's because we
the whole issue is a compliance. I mean, that's a mess, right?
Yes.
And that's really time consuming. So Isabelle, I assume you outsource all that stuff, so, you just want to make sure the paperwork is done right and they're doing their job, right?
So, I've been only a year with MKS now, so I haven't seen any programs or cells or center of expertise that actually handles and manage everything that's related to mobility and to how you handle people's taxes, or how do you repatriate them, or how do you relocate them. I'm not sure there's a huge population of international employees, because we are so much present locally on each of the countries in which we're set, that need hasn't probably arisen so much. I mean, they would probably support relocation from one country to the other because of somebody applying for another position in another MKS entity, etc. But that would be on the, we are relocating you, but then you would become a local employee. So whatever taxes situation, whatever immigration situation, that remains on you, because you are supposed to be responsible for ensuring that you are being hired and employed legally, and you have an obligation to do your taxes wherever you're living. So I didn't see any sales of that within MKS yet. Maybe it's going to come. I don't know.
So Isabelle, do any of your employees, what percentage of your people are remote?
So with the pandemic, a lot of people have taken a liking to working from home. For those who have the privilege to work from home, because some people, we have a lot of production sites, so a lot of people cannot work remotely.
Right. You got to be at the factory.
Exactly, you have to be at the factory. So although I would say support functions or management team, etc., they have that privilege to be able to work from home. And that's become, so we've implemented our telecommuting policy at the end of the pandemic, when it started to kind of get better, and we kind of asked people to come back to work, but they were like, okay, but we kind of enjoyed working from home. So we've implemented the telecommuting policy. I'd say probably a third of the population, from the top of my head, is probably working remotely on a part-time basis, so 2 or 3 days a week. And we have a population the commercials or people who are in self-service, etc. Some of them are 100% remote. We have a lot of people whom we've hired from a certain location where we don't have an office, Denmark, or we have people we wanted to get in our team, but they didn't want to move away from Paris. So we've allowed them to be a 100% remote employees.
So do you think that's going to change in the new year?
I don't think so, no. I think that's going to, we're far away from what people are expecting from their employer today. I think a lot of people are expecting that kind of balance between work and
Yes.
life that they've enjoyed during the pandemic. The fact that you can spend some time with your kids or see your mom and dad more often, or having the ability to be able to work as and when your workload is taking you, because it's not like a set, from 8 till 6 sometimes. Sometimes it needs a bit of flexibility. And when you work from home, you kind of add that flexibility. So I think we have more steps to do. And I think most employers will have to do these steps if they want to retain employee. I mean, we've seen a lot of people moving away from the Paris area to set their home in the countryside because of that will, that need, that hope for, more of a nice life.
So Megan, this is your thing, huh? When you talk to companies, just real briefly, becoming a global employer of record is what PZI is after, but that would allow this to happen with companies who aren't yet organized around all this.
Yes, that's correct. So for example, Isabelle's discussion about one of the individuals maybe being in Denmark, but an MKS not necessarily being there, that would be an area where if they wanted them as a direct hire and they wanted assistance with compliance and taxes and all of those things, that PZI could step in and employ that individual as PZI. However, day to day, we would, not have anything to do with that individual, but assist with that company of ensuring they don't have any potential issues with the government, for taxes, revenue, those types of things.
Well, it sounds like a great idea for, particularly startup private equity funded small companies, because setting up legally and hiring thousands of people in different places, oh my God. Well, so Isabelle, thank you for sharing that information about yourself, about your company. So we have around 8 or 9 minutes left, as I promised to keep this brief. And I welcome you guys to come back, and we can always do a bigger project later. So briefly about what I'm doing. This is the launch of a new series that I'm calling GEO, G-E-O, which refers to geographic location, like France. Yesterday was London. Tomorrow is Helsinki. And on Thursday is Hamburg. And Friday is Italy. So, yeah, and I don't have any travel costs, and I'm not burning up the skies with carbon or whatever, although I wouldn't mind doing that again. Carefully. Okay, but so next month, every month, we're going to do another program in each country. Okay. And we're not going to have a big deal. We're going to focus on like just what we're doing now, a conversation for less than a half hour on specific topics of interest. And then that'll be the program. So we'll move around, like for instance, in France, we'll certainly do Paris, but we'll also do Avignon area and Côte d'Azur and Lyon. And who knows where else. So, Isabelle, you have a young family, I understand. Yeah. Yes. So how much time do you work at home?
So I'm on an average 2 to 3 days a week because we are in, on upper production side. So HR needs to be visible, needs to be present. So I go to the office, if not 3 days, at least 2 days a week. And when I'm dealing with the UK or Italy, I'm from home because I'm not traveling that much. I try to go there, I'd say once a quarter, so I can meet people, because some topics and some conversation needs to be still need to be face to face and not on Teams or Zoom or whatever new technology that we have nowadays. And I forgot the question.
So, but just about you and how much time you were able to spend remote.
So here you go, 2-3 days.
Yeah.
A week.
Yeah, and it seems to work, right?
Yeah. That suits me fine.
Now, the kinds of people that you're employing, These are all tech geniuses, or what?
So we have operations. So where there are, operators, production operators, manufacturers, supply chains, logistic, etc. And you have the R&D team, which I call the brainy because I find that they are really smart. So you have these two types of population, and then you have the support function like HR, finance, comp and ben, talent acquisition, etc.
So where are you located, your factory? I know it's in the central area there, but is it near Nantes or is it more
not at
inland?
all. No, so our main site is based near Orléans in Bonne-la-Rolande. And our second site is based in La Boulogne, which is near Limoges.
I'll look on the map.
Yeah, it's not quite Nantes, but if you have like a big triangle, you have Nantes and you have Orléans and you have Limoges.
Yes, I see. Okay. So these are near colleges and universities where there's some tech talent.
So we are based near to big cities, but all sites are based in the countryside, which sometimes can be of a recruitment challenge. But because we are very well known in our industry style, we manage to get the people that we need. But we are growing fast. We are a very fast growing company, so we are recruiting all the time.
Yeah. This is great. Isabelle, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate what you're doing here. And I hope you found this conversation useful. Debbie, I'm sorry, Megan, as we come to a close here, just sum up a little bit about yourself. Do you have a family? Is this a long-time position you've been in?
So I've actually been with PZI only 8 months, so I'm still learning a lot as the finance operations director. And I have a 6-year-old girl tomorrow is her birthday, so
right.
I will be working remote to celebrate that. So that'll be wonderful. So yeah, it's a really great opportunity here and learning the facets of human capital solutions. So it's really neat.
I'll bet you really enjoy talking with people who are not Americans, and you really can have a relationship